Hello, Harold. Let me put a countdown. Hello, everybody. Okay, we're gonna start in 2 minutes, and we're making the best language server for HTML that was ever created. Now you're going to rewrite ZLS. ZLS is actually very decent as a language server. The thing that ZLS is missing is, well, being a Zig compiler because it can't analyze comp time. And this is actually planned to be solved by having the Zig compiler provide that functionality. So what you feel might be missing from ZLS right now, the plan is that it's not ZLS that should provide that. It should be the Z compiler. And after that, you can wire the Z compiler to ZLS. And then the question though is going to be, well, then what is the level of quality of ZLS? And I don't know. You can have debates about that, but I think in general it's fine as a language server. Eventually, ZLS becomes part of the Z binary? No, because the plan is not to have the Z compiler speak language server protocol. And the Z compiler will probably not will not do all the things that a language server needs to do, like provide you with autocomplete at a given location. That is code that exists in ZLS that will not be part of the Z compiler. The Z compiler will offer you, imagine that it will offer you a REPL that you can use to ask questions about the code. And I'm saying imagine, but I think that's pretty much what it's going to be. So you have this REPL, you can ask questions about the state of the code, but that is not going to be not the language server protocol, nor it will be necessarily everything that a language server needs to do. That will stay in a third-party project, probably. Or maybe not third-party, but it will not be the Z compiler itself. And so the idea is that you will have a language server that communicates with the Z compiler. That's the idea. Okay, this is going to be our next adventure. Writing rules for these attributes. So, yeah. Give me a few minutes. I'm gonna go get something to drink, and then we can start. ZLS is useless to me. Nothing appears, so I just fix compiler errors in order. Am I missing out on something? Yeah, you are. I mean, like, go to definition. It works. This what you're seeing right now is ZLS. Go to definition on a bunch of things. Space K shows you the signature and the doc string of a definition. Errors in your directly in your editor. I don't know. Sorry, this one is not triggering. Am I in a building state? Do I zig build? I don't zig build. Okay. Right. So there you go. So this error that I saw here, right? Function expected data arguments found 7. Guess what? It's also here. The reason why I wasn't seeing it in the other file is not ZLS. It's Helix. Helix. Let me see. Does Helix? You see, Helix doesn't show you diagnostics that are in another buffer, which is unfortunate. But in any case, yeah, you're missing out on a ton of things. ZLS is actually good. Good morning, S2. Okay, give me a sec. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Quite a misleading headline. Zine SSG.io is not an LSP. Yeah, that one is not, but I'm not working on that. That's like my that's my sponsor. I'm sponsored by Zine SSG.io. The LSP is this one. There you go. So here's what I'm working on. I'm working on nesting rules. I'm working on nesting rules. And right now, we don't have a lot of rules, but we know this. We recognize some attributes. So if I put a random attribute name, we complain, but we know that style is okay. We don't have validation for style though, like for the value. So we are missing attribute content validation. That's what I'm going to implement next. But then we also need a bunch of, we really need a ton of validation for elements. Right now, the only element that we have is, I guess it's P, but not even all of it. So right now we allow you to put divs instead of P's. That's not correct. By the way, the reason why it's this is because I was implementing this code. I got really far, but then I realized that it was the wrong approach. So we regressed everything. I was 80% done, but with the wrong approach. Now I'm restarting everything from scratch, and we're doing also attributes right off the bat. So basically, right now we have to implement all these rules for real. This is now the final, truly correct way of doing so. So yeah, get ready. This is genuinely the ultimate language server for HTML. No joke. Okay, so this guy is expecting something. This guy is expecting us to provide categories, parent content. That's what he's expecting us to provide. This is in preparation of Anchor because it has a transparent content model. So, well, what is the logic? What do we do? You know what? Maybe we can pass on some kind of like undefined for now, and not care about it. Let me think about it. Do we save this information? This is the mindfuck aspect of this approach. So we, for every node, we write down what it is, what categories we participate in, but we do not write down what content we accept. So in reality, this call should return us both things, what it is that we are and what it is that we accept. And it currently does not do that, so we're going to need to fix it to be like this. So categories is going to be, I guess it's going to be like this, dot model equals model. Okay. So what is the model though? Oh, categories. Okay, so this is model. It's a struct. Oh no, it needs to have a name. Model. Struct that contains categories and content. So there we go. Okay. What is going to be the root one? What is going to be the model for root? I think the root should say that it belongs to nothing and it accepts everything. So let's take a look. Here we're creating root and we say dot model. It's going to be dot categories, none dot content all. Okay. And then we'll create a new node. When you create a new node, what do we give to it? Oh, this is doc type. I think for doc type, we can do, maybe model needs a default value as well. I don't know. Well, we can copy this and we can say none. There you go. Okay. So here we create these other underscores and that is fine. Now we need to give the parent model. Did we set our current parent? Do we know what the parent is? The parent is going to be current index. So current index is still the parent, is it? No. It depends on direction. Okay. We switch on current direction. Oh, this is super ugly. Okay, we're accepting model. Oh, we also do need categories, huh? Okay, we're saying rule for an attribute, no field name known. Right, we changed these names. They are now this is bool. Yeah, next problem. Next problem is that now we need to return a model. So we want to validate the attributes of an element. The element has simple categories and content that can also be simple, transparent, custom. Okay. Hmm. I'm not sure how if that custom works correctly for us, but for now this is fine. So this is gonna be categories. Is that content is element.content. That's simple. So we do this for now just to have something that works, and then we decide what to do. Expected type node categories found something that is not that. Oh, simple dot categories. Okay. Okay. Are we in building condition? Getting close, but not quite. AST. What is your problem? No field name categories instruct AST node. Right. In reality, categories is like phrasing. Sorry. Yeah. It might also be flow. Flow content. Text is also flow content. Okay, next problem. Comment. The heck is a comment? I don't know, man. Oh, sorry. What is a comment? I don't know. Categories all. Content none. I don't know, something like this. Like you should be able to put comments on pretty much anywhere or close to. No field name categories. Sorry, I see node element. What's happening? If simple categories, okay, what are we looking at? We're trying to validate content, and it's child.model.categories. Okay, we build. We didn't really gain much. We still don't recognize ID, so that's fine. So we do not complain about the div yet. I think we got to complain about the div though at some point. I think, did I undo the change in element? It's now a div. I might need to double check something because this should work, I think, at this point. Okay, so here's what I think. I think we should make sure that P works, that we correctly complain that div should not be nestable inside of P, because we can make this work. And then I don't know what we do. Oh no, wait, I know how it is. We did, because the problem is that we did not implement div at all. And yeah. Div is not implemented at all, isn't it? Div. Yeah, div is not really implemented at all. I think we got right. P works. It's P nested instead of a P. That works. There we go. And we correctly say invalid nesting under P. Okay, so this part is working. We did not regress anything. We just made improvements. So now the question is, do we implement more items or more elements, or do we implement attributes? I want to implement some attributes. I want to ping pong between the two things because I want to, I still have some questions that I need to answer. But I think that doing some attributes is not a bad idea. That gives us, it's going to give us an idea of what attribute validation tends to look like. And then we gain some experience there. We jump back to doing some elements. We look at how elements interact with their attributes. And then, I don't know, we see what happens from there. So let's do some of these bad boys. So access key, I think, is super complicated. So I don't know, I'm going to click an element. An element supports global attributes. Access key, I think this guy is complicated. The value must be a order set of unique space-separated tokens. Jesus. An order set of unique space-separated tokens is a set of space-separated tokens where none of the tokens are duplicated, but where the order of the tokens is meaningful. Okay. 0 or more words known as tokens separated by one or more ASCII whitespace, where words consist of any string of one or more characters, none of which are ASCII whitespace. A string containing a set of separated tokens may have leading or trailing whitespace. An unordered set of unique space-separated tokens is a set of space-separated tokens where none of the tokens are duplicated. So what this means is that validating this field requires us to do the tokenization to recognize duplicates and report them as errors. Okay, although what I'm weirded out is the fact that I don't specify more strictly what this stuff is or is supposed to be. And wait, and each of which must be exactly one code point in length. Oh. 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 Do you have fancier examples? S space 0. N at 1. In the following example, a button has possible access keys described. The script then tries to update the buttons labeled to advertise the key combination the user agent selected. Okay. On one user agent, this could say compose command N. On another one, it would say alt plus arrow up plus 1. Processing model. Whenever an element's access key attribute is set, changed, or removed, the user agent must update all the elements assigning access key, blah, blah, blah. If the value is not a string of exactly one code point in length, then skip the reminder. Okay, so one code point, huh? One code point it is, good sir. Okay, let's go implement this. So I think this cannot be implemented in as a like simplified version of validation. I think this is really a custom validation, honestly. So what does that look like? Custom validation of this attribute. What do we give it? We give the element, the attribute. What is the attribute? A GPA? Yeah, we give it a GPA. We give it a name span. We give it the value span. I guess we can give it the attribute. And I think it's ast.utter, or maybe not, tokenizer.utter. There we go. Tokenizer.utter. Before we do that, I think we need to give it errors. The attribute, and actually that's kind of it. This might not be enough though, because I think that some attributes might need to know about attributes around them. If that is the case, this is gonna be fucked up. Hopefully this is not the case, but you know what? We'll see. Let's start with this and let's implement this. Okay, so access key means that it's gonna be a dot custom equals struct. Okay, what does our validation function do? So const value equals utter.value, or else try errors.append. And then return. And we say, oh, actually, wait, we can do return errors.append. This is actually way better. So we return errors.append, and we append.tag equals missing utter value. Main location. Main location is gonna be utter. Oh, we need source also. That's definitely another thing that we need. Main location is gonna be utter.name span. Also node. Main location is gonna be utter name span. There you go. Okay, so value has to be there. If there is a value, then we start tokenizing it, I guess. So tokenize any U8 buffer is going to be value.span.slice. Slice, and then what? delimiter std ascii dot white space. Okay. While it dot next, if std dot unicode, and then I don't know what, UTF-8 code point sequence length returns how many bytes the UTF-8 representation would require for a given code point. No. I think I want UTF-8 encode. Let's see. Encode the given code point into a UTF-8 byte sequence. No, I want the opposite. UTF-8 decode. Yeah. Deprecated. This function has an awkward API that's too easy to use incorrectly. What am I supposed to do then, man? UTF-8 the code 2. So this is the good one. This one does assertions though. Oh shit. Wait, there's also UTF-8 the code 3. Wait, why are we keeping 2 if version 3 came out? Wait, UTF-8 the code 4? UTF-8 valid code point returns true if the given Unicode code point can be encoded in UTF-8. There are some code points that you can't encode? I didn't know that. UTF-8 count code points. There we go. This is what we want. Returns the length of a supply UTF-8 string literal in terms of Unicode code points. Yeah, by the way, I know I was joking. So tag invalid utter value, invalid utter value, invalid utter value content. I think this should be invalid utter value. Okay. Oh, now things get fun. Main location. And I think this needs a reason. Token must be a single code point. Okay, main location. So here's the problem. We have value. We have some information inside of value, but we don't know. We don't know where we're at inside of value. So I think this needs to be it.index minus. Also, this is like a start and end. So start is it index minus talk.len and equals it.index. Node idx equals node idx. There we go. Invalid utter value. Also not span. I think it's like this. Invalid utter value equals and it has a reason and it has a span. What is the span that well, does it need a span actually? Maybe for now it does not. Not found? Come on, man. You can do better than this. Invalid utter value. And we need to give it a reason. Oh, we can do it like this. Nah, you know what? I feel that we're gonna need to change that very soon. Invalid utter value, invalid value for this attribute. I guess this is more like an if. Okay, so we do the single code pointing thing. So at least we have that going for us. Which, you know what, that's as is, that's already good enough to test. So let's get this working and let's test it. So we're gonna need source. Yeah, we need source in here. ASC.error singular. Okay, so now we're not calling this thing because I think it's not even wired in attribute validation. Yeah, we have any bool and then panic to do. So let's have also custom. We call the function with GPA errors utter source node IDX and utter. And we try this. Okay. Okay, so this is fixed here, but now this is being called from AST and we're calling it wrong. Actually, is it being called from there? No, it's being called from element. Or at least in theory it is. Utter rule validate. Do we have source in here? Yeah, we do. Okay, how are we doing? Expected utter rule found. Yeah, my shitty thing. Hello, VinceDev. Custom equals. Wait, no. Struct CB. Blah blah blah. Dot CB. So what is your problem with this? Let's read better. Expected type element utter rule found element global utters struct. Okay, where does the function end? Function ends here. Then we close the struct. We do .cb. Oh, it's not cursing correctly. Is this it? No, you must be joking. Really, to freaking metaprogramming. Is this the problem? But it should work. So are you happy with this? There's no missing utter value. Yeah. There's no name span in there. Okay, what's in a attribute then? Oh, just name. Okay. Oh, this can return. This can fail. Oh, we can do that. Also catch 0. No, you know what? We can do better than that. Expected parametric allocator, array list, blah blah blah. Found mem allocator, array list managed error null, consuate tokenizer. Oh, I think I haven't updated the signature, have I? Invalid utter value, right? No, I think it can work. Wait a second. It can work if we give it a default. There we go. Recursion from type info, blah, 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 must initialize. Oh, no. Oh, that sucks. Okay. Hello, what stage are you working on? When's Zigbee 1 probably coming from your point of view? A few years from now. It will take a while. I'm working on a language, on an HTML language server, so I'm not working on Zig. I'm working with Zig. Okay, so if we did everything correctly, then now we should be able to validate access key a little bit. Not entirely, but a little bit. Yes. Let's see how badly we messed it up. Missing attribute value. The moment I complete the name, it does say missing attribute value. Syntax error. Yes. So this is fine. You can leave it empty, at least according to our rules. You can put spaces. You can put single letters. Oh no! we're missing something. We're pointing at slightly the wrong position. Let's fix that. Ever so slightly borked math. Just ever so slightly. So the location is going to be IT index minus blah, 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 but it's also going to be plus value dot span dot start. Okay, fuck it. Everything goes inside. Happy now? Years? Yeah. There's a lot of stuff that needs to be explored before we're there. There we go. Now we complain at the right position. Invalid value for this attribute. Token must be a single code point. Let's put a... So, I guess pizza slice emoji. How many code points is a pizza slice? Should be 1, right? Pizza slice is fine. Single code point. You know what's more than 1 code point? Astronaut. Not bad. Invalid value for this attribute. Token must be a single code point. Not bad, I would say, huh? Not bad at all. Now, what's missing next is uniqueness. Also, you know what? I'm going to define this as a function downstairs and give it a better name and stop inlining everything. Can I do dot? No, I can't. This is so weird that this does not course correctly. Yeah, it's because it's any type. No, it's so dumb. Okay. Or alternatively, I could say that access key is the after rule instead of just the function. Maybe that's not a bad idea, huh? Oh no, but if I do that, then it can't just be a function definition. Fine. Let's leave it as like this. Okay. Well, let's complete the implementation. So we support code point checking, length checking. Also, you know what? Let's copy some of the information from here. Let's see. I believe Ziggy is unique enough. Now that I go async, I believe the version 1 could release soon. No. You are just thinking about the stuff that you care about. There's other things that other people care about. There are things that you care about that you don't know that you care about. And all these things are equally important. So trust the creators to do their job well. Also, I just released it when it's perfect. What do you mean? Zig has been released. You can try it out today. What is it? You need the magic number to be able to use it? No, you don't. So you can try it as is today. Sure, there is no promise of backwards compatibility because there are a lot of design questions that haven't been answered yet. But as long as there are things, as long as things change and they change with reason, then it means that improvement can be made and it's worth changing things. At some point, this stuff will slow down, and the more the Zig matures, the more everything will slow down, and the more, even though it will not be tagged V1 yet, it will be effectively more and more usable for more and more serious stuff, depending on the specifics or your needs. But no, there is so much stuff more that needs to be done, and the async stuff is just one piece of it. You're drunk on hype if you think that async, once that gets there, then the language is done. Not even remotely. I'll give you one example. People are probably starting to forget about it, but there's incremental compilation that is not ready yet. Incremental compilation means instant rebuilds regardless of the size of your code base. That is pretty damn important, and that requires still a lot of work. Some of it is there. Some people can leverage custom backends and the watch flag, and like they do get a pretty good developer experience, but we're not fully there yet. So this is an example of something that maybe you are not thinking about, but you most definitely want to have. So, and that requires time. Okay, let's implement the other rules. So we do the count. We do the stuff. Hello, proper bug. Okay. Next is uniqueness, right? None of which are identical to another token. Okay, so we need to basically make a set of them and check them. Okay, so we have correctly, if count is different than 1, then we error out. And then finally, if all of this is fine, we do gop try scene utters, scene talks dot get or put GPA, and then the token, which is doc. Hey mlug, if gop.found existing, this is, you know what, this is another one of those gops where we actually want to put there a span. Let's put a span in here. So if found existing, time to append an error. Reason duplicate token. And in here, we don't use IT index. We need to have the span in here. So it's going to be gop.value ptr.star. Okay. Otherwise, else. Oh, we have continue down here. Do we continue with the continues? You know what? I like continuing with the continues. Gop.value ptr.star equals this. Oh, we don't need the outer thing. Cool. Come on, Zeke, why do you hate me? Okay. Let's see if we can report duplicates correctly now. Arst, invalid. A, B, C, C, again. Oh, there we go. Invalid value for the attribute duplicate token. Oh shit, we're reporting the original one as the one that is invalid. No. And by the way, so we do want to have a span in here. Okay, let me think about it for a moment. So this is where this guy goes. And this is where this goes. Am I conflicting too many concepts all at once? I might be. You know what? Let's not do the span thing. No span. Only reason. No span, only reason. There we go. Now complaints about the last one. Not bad. Okay. We have accessible validation. Perfect. So one down, 1,000 to go. Auto capitalize. Oh god. These are gonna be so annoying. Oh, this one is a list of things. Okay, off, none, on, sentences, words, characters. Let's see how this stuff is computed. It's an enumerated attribute whose states are the possible auto-capitalization hints. The auto-capitalization hint specified by the attribute state combines with other considerations to form the use capitalization, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Derivative, blah, 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 for web developers, non-normative. To compute the own capitalization hint for an element, following steps. No, but I want to know more about the syntax, man. Can you be more precise about the syntax of referenced in or okay. Autocapitalized attribute does not affect editing host input etc form blah blah blah. Enumerated attribute. If the attribute is not specified, if the attribute is in ASCII case insensitive, oh, there we go. If the attribute's value is a ASCII case insensitive match, these are all case insensitive matches. When something is the value is in a list. For one of the keywords defined in the attribute, then return the state represented by the keyword. If the attribute has an invalid value default, blah, 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 blah. For authoring conformance purposes, if an enumerated attribute is specified, the attribute's value must be an ASCII case-sensitive match for one of the conforming keywords with no leading or trailing white space. Okay, so we have all the rules. Okay, so what are the options of auto-capitalize now? Off, known, on, sentences, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so how does it work? List. An entry in a static list of options. Yeah. So this would be utter rule list and then the list. And I don't remember what the other ones are. Off, known, on. Sentences, words, characters. This indentation is not as style. Oh, right, but it does not want one of these ones. It wants a set. Something like this. No, I think this one is fine like this. Okay, so off, known, on, sentences, words, characters. Auto capitalize. So we have to implement this checking. So if it's a list, what do we do with it? Utter.value or else. So I think that nothing is not allowed in this case. So this is a missing value. It's basically this. So if there is a value, then it has to be a match, case insensitive one, which is what set does. Set is case insensitive, so perfect. So if not list dot has value dot span dot slice source, invalid utter value, we can give it a reason. Do we give it a reason? Do we explain what is the list of values? I think we should. Yeah, comp time format. Also, I don't even need competent print because I'm listing them manually, so I think that's fine. Of known on sentences, words, characters. Okay. So yeah, this is it. We build. Call the comp time here. What is the problem? No member named 0. Oh, this is different. This is such a silly requirement, man. Okay, so we have access key. Auto capitalize. Missing attribute value. Yes. Invalid value for this attribute must be one of off. Oh, but we are reporting this on the name. No, 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 no. We need to report this on the value itself. Where is it? For list, it's not utter name. Well, if it's missing value, yes. But in this case, it's not utter name. It's value span. Without a doubt. There we go. I mean, man, HTML is amazing. Okay, we have implemented autocapitalize. Okay. And now we just have like a ton more to implement. Okay. I think we can take a break from this. I think we did actually a pretty good job. I'm genuinely happy with this. Obviously, there's more to go, but I think we can take a break from this. So we now had a taste of these guys. You know what? I would like to do a Boolean one where it needs to be present or absent. I think hidden is like this, right? No. Enumerated attribute. Hidden until found. What does until found it mean? Nonce? Tab index, title, translate, is, item ID, draggable. It's keywords. Why? Why is it an enumerated attribute with booleans? Why can it not? These motherfuckers. Why can it not be like an actual present or absent one? I hate these people. Content editable, of course, takes keywords. Autofocus. Oh. It's a boolean attribute. Okay, we found it. Autofocus is boolean. Copy link. Autofocus. Okay, so autofocus is boolean. Let's see. Did we implement boolean? Let's double check our implementation of boolean. If it has a value, then we complain. That's it. Okay. Duplicate. Invalid value for this attribute. I think we can do better though, because this is invalid value, but it also should say dot reason attribute must not have any value. Like, how do we say that that is a boolean attribute, but like for normal people, not people that have read the HTML spec? What how should we word it? Must have no value. I guess that works. It's I mean, it's definitely clear. There you go. Invalid value for this attribute. Attribute must have no value. Wait. It kind of sucks. You know what? Let's make a dedicated arrow code for this. Invalid attribute value, missing attribute value. Extraneous. Extraneous attribute value. Actually, you know what? Utter is Boolean. Oh, this should be Boolean utter. There we go. This attribute cannot have a value. There we go. Boolean utter. Where is it? must not have a value but be present or not instead. Yeah, those are like, this is the description of Boolean attributes. Yeah, this attribute cannot have a value. Oh, but I'm pointing at the value and not at the attribute. Maybe I should point at the attribute and say instead of, I mean, this is the wrong part. You know what? I'll leave it like this. Even though we are not pointing at the attribute name, we're pointing at the value. I think it's fine. Both attribute and value. I think it's nice to point at what it is wrong. I'm gonna keep it like this for now. I think it's fine. Okay. So we have done some attributes. Not bad. Not bad at all. Let's go back to elements then. Let's implement... so I was thinking yesterday of implementing HTML and maybe body, although body is probably complicated. We can implement HTML with its weird sorting rules. Then we can implement... what? We have implemented P. I guess we can implement a subset of div, maybe. Or no, we do another one, kind of like div but simpler. I think it's called main. Not main. Yeah, main. We implement main. Maybe we should do main first. Maybe it should be main and then a. Yeah. Main because it accepts flow content. And then we do a. Let's go to main. So content accepts flow. And it's in flow and palpable. Do I care about palpable? No. For now, I'm not caring about palpable, so it's like this. Main, it's flow and accepts flow. Okay. So main, perfect. Invalid nesting under P. Correct. So we have main, we have P. Let's go implement A. A is going to be an adventure. So this one was easy. A is not going to be easy. A will require us to do custom work. Okay, popcorns A. Categories. No, wait. What do we put in element? I don't remember. Oh, this hasn't been. Wait, what is going on? Oh my god, I'm back to Colimac. This hasn't been updated in a while. Okay, what do we have in element? You know what? I think I want to move this stuff up top so that it's easier to find. Okay. So kind, categories. We have categories and content. Okay. Categories. What are our categories? Our categories are not static, they are dynamic. And we know this because phrasing content. We have flow and phrasing always, but then we are interactive if we have an href attribute. And content is also weird because it's transparent. And it's not just transparent, it's transparent plus no interactive content descendant, a element descendant, or descendant with the tab index attribute specified. Jesus. Jesus. Okay. So what is the dynamic content? This is not dynamic content. This is dynamic categories, I guess. So let's double check again. When generating categories, we need to see if it has an href attribute. And that toggles whether we are interactive content or not. Okay. Okay, let's ignore content for now. We'll look into it. We'll look into it later. So, trying to complete categories. The question is, do we have a href attribute or not? And coincidentally, we are also validating our attributes as we do this. So this is the first time that we're implementing an element that needs to validate its own attributes. Actually, maybe that's not really it. I forgot to check for main or P. P doesn't have custom attributes, so it's fine. But I don't know main. Main does not have special attributes, so we're good. Okay, so main is actually done for real. Now we need to fix A. And look, we have also extra attributes. Let's look at them. So href, address of the hyperlink. Target, navigable for hyperlink navigation. Download, whether to download the resource. Ping, URLs to ping. Really? What? Rel, relationship between the location of the document containing the hyperlink. hreflang, language of the link resource. Type, hint of the type of reference resource. Referrer policy. Okay, so there's no particular rules other than validating global attributes and then validating also these guys. Okay. Cool. So we need to do this in this case. I think that my abstractions are not yet perfect, though. I think that there are some combinations of things that can happen that I'm not accounting for yet. We'll see. We will see. I think I'm conflating attribute validation and competition of categories a little bit too much. They are super intertwined, 100%, but I feel like my nomenclature is not on point yet. In any case, the point is we need to look at our attributes. So we need to do all the attribute validation. That's what we start with. And then as we do that, if we've seen an href, we need to remember that because we'll need to then say that we belong also to the interactive content category. Otherwise, we won't. So let's go do that. That's going to be like an adventure. Also, you know what I'm noticing? We have to use href, but href is not unique to A, right? Wait, maybe it is. But some of the other things I think might be shared with other thing is. So what I'm thinking is that we might want to maybe have like a repository of some of these things when they can be used by other things. But we're just getting started, so let's just I don't know, make it happen. So pub const attributes is a utter set. Okay. So what are the attributes? href. Well, you know what? We can copy the list from here. Space young. Then delete space paste dot curly quote quote there you go. Okay, what's href? The href attribute on a or a area, so the href is shared by these two guys. Good to know. Must have a value that is a valid URL potentially surrounded by spaces. Also, it can be also empty. So valid URL can be also empty. Valid non-empty URL. Valid URL potentially surrounded by spaces, so it can be empty. Okay. I think that we should have a rule for this that we are able to reuse. So I'm going to implement it in element for portability. Pub function. Actually, you know what? Maybe it's worth making a standardized rule for it. Like URL. Yeah. Okay, so we have URL. Let's add URL to our list.url. Okay, so if there's no value, then we complain. So this is the same thing as usual. Then we say stripped URL is value std mem.trim u8 value.span.slice source std ASCII white space if len if strip URL. You know what? Just call it URL. I think it's fine. So if URL.len is 0 and not, hey Uli, I'll read your message in 1 second. So if the length is 0 and empty is not empty, then we complain, then we return an error. We have better errors than this one. This one we want to copy. I think this is what we want to do. So if length is 0 and empty, or you know what? If I think we should do the opposite, right? If len is 0, I think we need all these combinations, I think. So switch empty. Not empty, we return an error. There we go. Let's see. Svelte anointing uses Svelte key.head text node in the head and Super HTML complains. Would it be amenable to allowing it? The answer is that generally yes, but I'm not prioritizing this, and there will be limits. So more specifically, I want to make sure that I complete support for vanilla HTML and I do everything by the book. After I'm done with that, I am open to having a relaxed way of running Super HTML. That said, and so basically I will turn off a bunch of validation so that it can work with templating languages, although it will degrade the quality of the experience dramatically because, you know, templating languages that mess with the HTML, they make a mess of things. So there's nothing you can do. Unless the templating language is valid HTML. In that case, then it might be better. Still, though, with some limitations still. So I want to do it. But yes, then there will be like the quality of experience will not be perfect. Unfortunately, these tools should provide you with stuff, and they tend to not do that. So, but first I need to implement this part of stuff. Okay, so if length is 0 and we're saying not empty, we say, so our reason is going to be, oh shit, look at this. We have a quote in here. Cannot be empty. I think that's a good reason. Not attribute value, cannot be empty. What were we saying here above? Must be one of. Okay. So cannot be empty. Wait, am I dumb? Oh my god, look at this example. In the reason I was listing things, instead of grabbing them from the list, I hard-coded them. I'm a chipmunk. Okay. Let's this is what the HTML spec is doing to me. It's making me dumb. It's like I'm like Frodo with the One Ring. It's corrupting me from the inside. Okay, cannot be empty. Otherwise, else. So instead, if it's empty, then we return because there's nothing to do. We could even put it here. That is, man, this is a little bit weird. It works, but it's a little bit weird. Like this seems that we're doing fall through, but we're actually returning. I don't like this. Double returns is gonna be fine. I've been having a great time with HTML. Really cool. Still can't believe that it didn't exist before. I'm glad you're making it. Thank you. Glad that you're enjoying it. I can promise you the developer experience is not there yet. I have a ton of improvements that I want to make. I even want to have semantic analysis happen in your LSP so that they can tell you in the editor if your scripted expression is wrong. And we can have that. It's just a matter of making it work. And now I'm like trying to be serious with the basics of the language server so that, you know, we can have the basics well covered and then work our way up. Okay, so if URL len is not 0, also unreachable. So I don't want to nest inside of an else. So I'm gonna put unreachable here to make it clear that my intent is that we should return from this. I mean, there's a bunch of returns. And putting a return in here would help with it. You know what? I'm starting to think that I want the return here. Even though it's kind of sus. Oh, but you know what? I guess we can nest the return and it's not a problem. So like we can say that we return in here and then in empty, instead of returning nothing, we return again. This is like silly, but it actually is very explicit. Like you don't risk misunderstanding what this switch is trying to do. So we return, okay? We are returning. Like this is return for sure. Sometimes maybe the language could get it wrong. You only have one return and it forgets about it. But if you have double return, there's no way it will forget. Okay, so then length is different than 0 in here. What are we doing here? We need to validate it. So const, I guess we can do underscore equal try std URI parse URL. Parse URI. Is this a thing? No. Is this a thing? Is it under HTTP? It's not. Net. What am I doing? Also, why am I back to Colimac? I wish one day I'll learn what is the keybind that makes that happen. It's net. Parse URL. It's not net. God damn it. PQR STU. Oh, it's uppercase U. God damn it. URI. Dot parse. There we go. So this can error out, and we can have a parse error. Unexpected character, invalid format, invalid port. We have a URI. What do we get in here? We get bunch of data, but none of it is really particularly useful for us. Is empty, blah, blah, blah. Well, if there's an error, then we return. No. It's just this that I wanted. Okay, errors.append, GPA, invalid attribute value, reason. Invalid URL. We could do better than this because we could point out where the parsing fails. The problem is that this parser here doesn't give us a lot of context. Unfortunately. Parse after scheme. I wish this parser gave us more feedback, but for now it doesn't. I don't want to write my own URL parser right now, so this will have to do. Although, you know what, it's still not bad as is. So with this, we are correctly reporting, doing error reporting for href. Okay. Now here I was being a goof and doing this, but this doesn't work. So we cannot have the reason right now. This will have to be like this for now, at least. And use function parameter. Oh. We have some bad stuff in here. Yeah, I also hate it when the language forgets to return. So now we have categories that is not implemented. We do have attributes in here, so we need to have a decent value to give these guys. So here's what we can do. Is there like a temporary attribute rule that we can use? .any. Okay. Okay, so that actually works. Although href, we can do something better. We can say utter rule dot URL equals dot empty. Okay. Then, okay, so how does categories work? We loop over all attributes. We validate them either against these attributes or the global attributes. We remember if we saw href, and based on that, we return the value. Okay, so this is actually a pretty decent plan. So tag is our tag, I guess. We have the node index. We don't have nodes. I think I'm not sure if we are receiving the right type of stuff though. So validate atters, the easy one, what does it do? In the static case, creates a validating utter iterator and calls onto it. Dynamic is to do, so we need to do the actual dynamic. We need to implement this, otherwise our function inside of A will never be called. And we need to make sure that we pass down the correct type of stuff. What are we building today? Today, a language server for HTML. A kick-ass one. Okay, so I think that we need to make sure that we need to negotiate the signature here a little bit because, yeah, some things just are not gonna work out. So to be fair, This guy here, I think we should create no matter what. Because we need to validate the attributes no matter what. So no matter what, we create the validating attribute iterator. And that's what we pass down. So we pass down GPA, errors, source, the VAT, and node index. Actually, before VAT. I think this is what we need to pass down. Almost. And the parent content. Yeah, headless headhunter. If you stay around for a while, I don't know, give me 10 minutes. I'll get to a compiling state and I will be able to demo some of the progress. And you will see me in the editor write bad HTML and the editor notice that I wrote bad HTML. And tell me why it thinks it's bad. Okay, so this signature then, categories, dynamic categories. This is actually the wrong signature. This is the wrong signature because we want GPA, we want the errors. We don't want scene attributes. We do want source, tag. I don't think we want that, or maybe we do, but I don't know yet. And then we want a VAT. That tag, though, is useful. So validate utters. What does it use that tag for? Oh, it's span. No, this is computed. What is tag? Oh, okay. It's what we give to VAT. So we don't need it, I think. I don't think we need it. Okay, so this should be it. Also parent content. Did I put parent content in the signature? Parent content is a set of categories. We don't care what the parent belongs to. We care what it accepts. Yes. Okay, so this is our signature. This is our real signature here. Okay. So here we do while VAT.next. We need to try this. We get an attribute. And then we do if attributes dot get name, so if it's ours, then we have a rule and we need to apply the rule. Rule, I think, the validate utter, and I think we need to pass something to it. Also, we need to do this. Var has href starts with false. In if there is a match, we say we need to get both the rule and the index, I think, because we need to match with the fact that it's an href. So get index. So we validate the attribute. And once we're done with the while, we return. Okay, let's think about it for a moment. What are we returning? We're returning the categories that we belong to. Which categories do we belong to? The ones that are hard-coded plus interactive being set by has href. And I think it was flow or phrasing. What's A? I think it's A, it's phrasing. Oh, flow, phrasing, palpable, interactive. Okay, palpable we don't track. Go through. Okay. So perfect. These guys are coded. This guy, it depends on our values. So we don't need parent content here. Actually, we do not need parent content here. Parent content is needed when no, it is needed now, isn't it? Oh god, I'm brain farting so much on that piece of logic. Okay, give me a sec. So validate utter certainly wants GPA, certainly wants utter errors. Then what else will we want? We want source probably, node IDX. Source maybe. We'll see. No, we're not just doing that. We're also returning the content model. This is also when we return the content model. So we don't just return categories. We return an entire model. And our content is basically our categories intersected with the parent. So you know what? Actually, we do need categories. God damn it. Actually, no, we don't. Yes, we do. Content is actually so let's put back categories. Okay, and shadows declaration of categories. Oh, 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 cats. And this cats dot intersect with parent categories. No, parent content. There we go. We intersect with parent content. This should be the implementation of transparent, in theory. Yeah, they should return a model because we call this from validated actors that returns a model. So yeah, and so this is not just try, this is a return. Oh, we have that there already, so we can do this. Okay, do we compile? Not quite there. We'll get there though. Actor rule is not pub. Has no member named empty. Are you sure? Empty, non-empty. This should be not empty. Empty. There we go. Validate. There we go. Expected file arguments. So the rule itself, GPA, errors, source, node index, and the attribute. Oh yeah, small detail, huh? Of course. Why don't you track palpable? Because as far as given what I've seen up until now, palpable doesn't seem to ever come into the decision making or what is allowed or not. I might be wrong, and I'm happy to be wrong, and it's not a big deal. What I will do is add palpable back at that point. But my point is that I don't want to add preemptively things that might not be necessary. So I'm adding them as I see them being necessary. Expected enum fund categories. Oh, wait. enum from int. Oh no, what am I doing? Bitcast. Unit initializer must initialize one field. Okay. Content. Yeah, what do I put in content? Can I do that all? Um, I feel like we're missing something. So what do I put in content? So here, going to element, what are the types of content that we have so far? We have simple, transparent, and custom. No, it should be simple. But why is simple specifying the categories in there? It should not. Oh, okay. Okay, this is my abstraction slowly improving. So there's no need for transparent. There is no need for that because we always use what we have in the node, whether that was dynamic or not. So perfect. So I'm not even sure we're gonna need custom. We'll see. But so far, this can be done with simple. And this is gonna be simple, but simple, let's see, temp element, simple. Categories all no. Static value is categories, no. Okay, I'm starting to understand what to call these things. So this is not categories. This should be model. And the value here is a model. Oh, it supports also custom attributes. So I had this. This is good. And if it's dynamic, then it returns a model from that. Yeah. And content is for content validation. Okay, okay. Ooh, things are starting to make sense. Yes. So what does that mean? That means that we have a bunch of things that are not good right now. So this is how it should be. And then we're going to need to fix, for example, import. P. P now can't be like this anymore. Yeah. Categories, content. Oh, static value model. There you go. So now content, if it's simple, why do we put custom attributes in here? I'm starting to think that we should not put custom attributes in here. I'm starting to think that custom attributes should live in content when we do content validation. I don't know. I don't know for sure yet which one of the two is going to be. No, never mind. Custom attributes should stay here. So no, this is okay. This is okay. This is all okay. Okay, no. This is okay. Okay, so for P, then we say content is just simple. Okay, so I think I fixed P. Let's fix main. So categories is dynamic. Model is dynamic. Yes. And content is simple, almost simple. Okay. So we go now in element, and I think we have an error in validated attributes. Why? Because it's like this now. Perfect. Expected type categories found model. Are you sure? Why is parent content a model? Why is parent content a model? No, this can stay categories, I think. Let's see if we just break something else in turn. Maybe there's a case that I'm forgetting. Okay, so this is fine. The content validation function for simple is not good yet. So simple case. So we are looking at simple categories overlaps. Okay, let's think about this a little bit more. We're validating the children. So what is the parent is the parent node. We look at element.content. Here we see the parent span. Okay. Okay, let's leave it here. But we also need have the parent const. Parent content is parent dot model dot content. Parent span is going to be parent dot that stuff. And then in here we say we want to say parent content overlaps child model categories. Yes. Okay, are we building? Not yet. 510. Parent model dot content. Expected pointer to not okay element. Okay, let's see how we fare. So far, so good, it seems. Invalid nesting under P. Correct. Can I put a P in main? I can put a P in main. Can I put an A in main? I can. Can I put a P in A in main? The answer should be yes. Can I put, can I take a P and put an A that contains a P in it? No, I can't. The only downside of this system is that it says that this is invalid nesting under A, instead of telling you that this is actually invalid nesting under P. So this system has the only downside, as so far as it is structured right now, that we're not tracking the fact that we are actually inheriting from P. How do we solve this? The solution is that model needs also to contain a span of whose rule set we are using, basically. Although maybe it's more complicated than this. Maybe we should keep track of our own and the one from the parent. And what we should do is say, first we cross with our own, then we cross with the one with the parent, and we use that to decide whose fault it is. Because there might be some things that you just cannot put inside of an A, and it's A's fault, not the parent's. So it's not always, even though it's transparent, it's not always the parent. Sometimes it's A's fault, sometimes it's the parent. So maybe this needs to be made more complicated, just a little bit. But so far so good. Let's test the attributes. Uh-oh. Did we crash? No, we did not crash. But we're not complaining about attributes. That's a problem. Question. Super HTML is a separate project because I was for some reason thinking that it all was connected to Zine. It is. It is connected. Super HTML is the templating engine of Zine. But since my templating language, let me show you. So in Zine, when you want to create a template, you use Super HTML. So here, I'm not gonna read it. I'm not gonna read it all. But here I'm complaining about curly brace templating languages because I think they suck. And so then I show you that my templating language uses scripted expressions to implement logic. And then I have attributes with special meanings, etc. So this is all built on top of a HTML parser. So to parse Super HTML, I have to parse HTML. And valid Super HTML is valid HTML. So the pile of validation starts from vanilla HTML, and then I build logic on top, like semantic on top of it. So right now I'm focusing on the language server at the HTML level, but that is also reused at the Super HTML level. It feels like you need to track not only the direct parent, but the whole subtree. It could be. It could be that I need to. In that case, what I will do is have a flag for transparent and then have a, I don't know, like a thing that goes up. Although I can tell you also, though, I can tell you why this is not strictly it. The reason why this is not strictly it is because for correct, what I'm doing right now is correct. It's just not reporting correctly the root cause why a thing is not allowed. Because what I'm doing is that whenever I'm recording in the AST a given node, which categories it belongs to, when that node is transparent, I immediately stamp on it. I inherit immediately from above the set of things. I do intersection. Although I don't know if intersection is the correct thing to do. Maybe it should be union. No, it is intersection, I think. So let's see if I'm correct with this. So in theory, you see how this is correctly navigating two levels of transparent elements. And if I change this P to something else, main, now it disappears. So this is correctly propagating. It's just not propagating correctly whose attribute we should look into. But there are ways around that. But then can it be used for HTML only? Yeah, sure. When you open the language server with a .html file, you are in vanilla HTML mode. When you open a .shtml file, then you're running in super HTML mode. So it has a different file extension, and that's how the tooling recognizes that. When it comes to LSP specifically, it's slightly more complicated because there's an interaction with your editor. The editor has a concept of language that is disconnected from file extensions. Like, it's related, but it's not one-to-one. So what happens more specifically is that you need to configure your editor to recognize .shtml as super HTML. And then when you are in a buffer where the language is set to super HTML, then the language server will behave accordingly. Okay, so what do we want to do next? So we've proven that the let's put P maybe in the right place. Okay, we have proven that we can implement things correctly. We have proven that we can implement the gnarliest things correctly, because by far transparent is the gnarliest thing. Again, we're not reporting correctly. It would be nice if we could report correctly, but for now we don't have that. Although really the worst case scenario is actually not that hard to imagine. Basically what we would want to do is have another field. Although I would put this stuff in another array at that point, I think. I wouldn't inline it in each and every single node. But what I would do is have a secondary array where we have basically, instead of having a packed struct with a bit for every single category, we have a tag for every single category, like an enum, and basically, or a span actually, or maybe both. Fuck it, whatever. And the idea is basically that whenever you want to see, oh, we failed to match this. We didn't match on this rule. Why is that? And you see that rule, who said that last. Something along those lines. I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm not explaining it really well. But there are ways of making it work, I think, without going too insane. Okay. So also another thing is, do we have control over the error messaging here? No, we're not doing this because it's simple validation. Here's another thing that we can do. Um, maybe it's not super precise, but to make it just less janky, what we could say is somewhere add a property for this element that says whether it's transparent or not. And then in the main algorithm, we say, if the element is transparent, in the error message, we say invalid nesting, blah, 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 in this context. Or like in somehow we explain that it's not just that element that doesn't want that. Okay. In any case, so we have I think I want to implement HTML next. HTML was another one that was funky, and I want to replicate the behavior that I was able to get the last time with all the very precise error reporting and good autocompletion. Ooh! We implement HTML, and you know what we do next? We look into autocompletion, because for now we have completely regressed autocompletion, and right now our data structures are not even like good for that. So we might need to do some things with extra steps to make these things also lend themselves to autocompletion. And we need autocompletion for attributes. So after we have covered autocompletion in general and autocompletion for attributes, we will have basically modeled the entire problem. And at that point, it will just be a matter of filling in the blanks, like go methodically, element by element, implement everything. And, you know, as we do that, maybe discover that some adjustments are needed. We'll definitely need some adjustments, but this is good. This is really good progress. So let me take a very quick break. I'm going to run to the bathroom real quick. And when I come back, we implement HTML. BRB. Okay, I'm back. What am I missing? Do you plan on supporting custom elements? They don't have a spec, but you could basically parse their definitions and provide auto completion. Would that be neat? But they're defined in JavaScript, aren't they? So here's how it works for now. Well, actually, I can't demo it to you because I turned off most error reporting right now. But the way it works is that if I see that an attribute has a dash in the name, I consider it a web component and I ignore it. And I assume that it can be stuffed anywhere and it can contain anything. Which sure is not optimal. And I could see an argument in favor of saying maybe we could have like a way where you can define those definitions somewhere. We pick them up and, you know, they would have to conform to one of the simplified models, but yeah, I'm not against that. Okay, what I was saying. I want to implement HTML. It's not widely used. You mean web components? Yeah, they're not really widely used, huh? Still. Pico RST. Okay, so let's go implement HTML. And I think I'm gonna copy what we have for A. Because HTML I think has nothing in it. I'm just gonna save the URL. Okay. Also, I should name this model. Not categories. Let's go do the same inside of A. That means that we can call these categories. Okay. So, what do we do in HTML? Actually, this part doesn't matter. Let's see what's an HTML element. Only global attributes, so no custom attributes. This is good. It does not belong to any category. And the content model is first a head and second a body and nothing else. So, kind of hardcore. So we said that the model is dynamic and the content cannot be dynamic. The content also will have to be dynamic or like custom. So content model. Here we're validating attributes. So, oh, you know what we forgot to do? Wait a second. We forgot to do an important thing in A. We forgot to validate also global attributes. So if attributes dot global attributes. uh get name. I think it should be like this: const rule equals blk, and then there's this guy, and then there's this guy, and then there's this guy, and then we break with this, and then here global attributes, and we kind of break with these. Get name, or else we return an error. Yep. So we either get it from our attributes or we get it from global attributes, and then we do the validation. Otherwise, we don't return with this. We try this and then we continue. We need to validate also the rest. Okay, global attributes, we don't have it. So is it global authors? Yeah. Okay. Cool. So we forgot something kind of important. We forgot something kind of important. So this is going to be the same validation that we do in HTML. Nothing much will change. So we do this. Don't care about any of this. I don't know if we care about that. We'll see in a moment. We don't have our own attributes, so those are not here. Okay. What is name? Fair. We need this. Okay. So with this, we validate our attributes in the most simple way. Then we might want to make a function for this, honestly. But anyway. Then the next thing that we have to do is reply what our model is. So our categories are none. Our content is none. But right. Right, kind of important, huh? Yeah, this should probably be a function. So we return this. The problem though is not this, but it's the other thing. Actually, you know what? Wait. This is not custom at all. This model is not dynamic at all. This is totally static. Wait a second. What am I doing? Yeah, look, there's nothing. Oh, no, wait. Why am I modifying A? In HTML. Never mind. No. This is totally static. And the value is content is none. Categories is none. Yeah. It's the one down here that is complicated. Yeah, it's the content validation that is complicated. This is the only one that we need to worry about. Yeah. And we're not going to do any of this. We're going to do something else. And the signature is completely different. Okay, yeah. HTML really has a static content model. It does not change at all. It's the content validation. I think that we should rename this to content validation. Much more clear. Yeah, the one above computes the model. This one is the content validation, which can be simple or totally custom. So what does the totally custom one look like? Definitely we return out of memory. Definitely we get a GPA. Definitely we get errors. Anyone had success using Zig bindings for Vulkan? Haven't done it myself personally, but yeah, I know a few examples of people that have succeeded. I think that Andrew has an example of that. Although, when you say bindings, if you mean somebody's bindings, I'm pretty confident that Andrew did not use any of that. But in any case, let's see. Andrew. Repositories. Which one is it though? He has a fork of Ziggy. Oh, there we go. Zig Vulkan triangle. Oh, he is using bindings from the next one, I guess. Yeah, he has his own fork of that. So he has Vulkan triangle. He has not just that. He has more than that. But I don't remember the name of the repo. So somebody has succeeded. Yes. I haven't personally though. So sorry, I can't really help you with that. My universe is HTML. It's the only thing that I know. I live for HTML. I breathe HTML. I eat HTML. And yes, HTML is also what comes out of the other end. But this is the life of somebody who is implementing the HTML spec. Okay, so we look at GPA, we look at errors. We need nodes also. So usually we put them first. We need nodes. We need the parent index. Isn't the VUI also Vulkan capable? Good question. I think it's not something that the VUI concerns itself directly. I think this is more like what is the backend that the VUI is using in turn. So I believe that the VUI can use Raylib, SDL as backends, maybe other stuff as well. And those other things are the ones that decide if they use Vulkan or something else, I think. Don't quote me on that though, because I don't do GUI programming. I don't have really experience with that. So my understanding might be wrong. So GPA nodes, errors, parent index. What else do we need? I think we need more than this. And yet, this seems it. Maybe it's not too bad. Okay, so we have this custom definition. So now we invalidate content. Oh, invalidate content. This is like an element thing. So there's the element. Why is it a const pointer? It actually doesn't need to be a const pointer, does it? Wait a second. What if we don't do this? I wonder what will happen. Yeah, I'm actually curious. In any case, the bigger one has element, GPA, nodes, errors, source, first child index. Right. I was convinced the first child index was useful. Why? Because it would allow us to reutilize this logic a little bit. I don't know. I'm not super sold. I'm really not super sold. You know what? Let's assume that this is not going to be a thing. Let's assume that this is not going to be a thing. Okay, the only thing missing from our prediction here is source. Okay, so this is our signature. Let's see how we fare. We don't need this. We don't need this. We don't need we don't need a lot of stuff. We don't need the tokenizer, or maybe we do. Categories and model we don't need. Okay, let's see how that looks like. So our order of business is going to be look at our children, expect them to be 2, expect their tag to be HTML and head, and behave accordingly, basically. Okay, so this means that we go into, I have the old code still. I have the old code, and I think we can scoop some of this stuff because it's not going to be terribly different. The logic is mostly there. It's annoying how verbose this stuff is, but some of it has to be verbose. Sorry. Okay, start from the first child. Look at the kind. Oh, this is this is so simplified. Holy shit. This is so much simplified. So what the looking at the kind right now means this. If ch dot kind is different than dot head, then basically here's your error case. Almost. So if it's different than head or ch dot kind different than dot body. I think these are the two ones that we want to complain about. Sorry, those are special case basically. That's my point, I guess. Right. And now we want a span from these guys. The problem is that the span that we can get depends on the type of element. So we can do something like if it's element or not. Maybe. So we can say if they're not head or body, const name equal name span equals if something else, I guess. And then we append the error. And we're saying if child equals name equals head, do this. And if body, end. You know what I think? I think we want some kind of child dot span for error, or just like a good span. I think we want to abstract this so that we don't have to do it a ton of times. So a node is close, direction, tag iterator, start tag iterator, debug, and also pub function, like span. And returns a span. So if n dot node n dot kind dot is element, then we return n dot start tag iterator source HTML dot name span. Otherwise, if it's not an element, then we return n dot open tag. Yeah, I mean, it's not a lot of lines, but it's convenient. So with this, we can say span equals child dot span. Errors dot append, invalid nesting. Oh, here we want to say the parent span. So sure. Is it given to us? It is not given to us. Maybe we should receive it because we should have that, don't we? I think we have the parent span. Well, you know what? In any case, but this is annoying because we know that the parent is not an element, so there's no point in asking if it's an element. You know what? I should double check that if we have the parent span or not in the caller. Validate nesting. For each node, we do not have the span. We absolutely do not. Holy shit. So yeah, never mind. It's on us. It's on us. So we can do parental span. Whatever. It's error reporting. Okay, parental span, low span wants stuff, of course. Okay. Do we use the parent span anywhere else down here? Oh, here we do. Okay, so we want to save it, I guess, then. Okay. Oh, language. Yeah, we should accept language as well. Okay. So if it's not a head and it's not a body, we just append this error and continue. Then here we're trying to compute the child span and then the child name. So, but the child span we already have. Okay, let's go to child span. Child span, child index. We can put the child name in here as well. So, okay, here we're doing the child name matching, but actually we don't care about the child name. So this is not going to be this. This is going to be if child dot kind, or was it equals what? Head. Then blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. And then there's the else if. Seems that we don't need the language. Seems that we're forgetting to pass GPA around. Okay. That error was saying do not add an error if the thing is really unknown. Hmm. I guess conflating invalid and other tags with underscore 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 is a problem, isn't it? But you know what? This is fine for now. Let's get it working. Building, I mean. Hey, no field name content. Right. This is content validation. Oh man. What are all these new problems? Unable to resolve comp time value. Okay, so turns out that these pointers are kind of necessary in those type definitions, huh? Okay. Okay. So what did we implement? Complaints in head. We're not complaining in head. We're crashing. To do. Panic to do. Element of Z195. Oh. Oh. Oh, that's kind of important. Wait a second. So we... Right, because we wired in dynamic function in here, but we never wired in custom. There you go. Missing child head. Element in wrong position should be second. Perfect. Element in wrong position should be first. Not bad. So we have re-implemented HTML. When it comes to validation, we have completely regressed auto-completion and we need to return it. But I think I'm not going to do that today. I think I'm going to do that tomorrow. This has been good progress today. Really good progress. We didn't do a ton of work in terms of like covering, the whole percentage, but we've been strategical when it comes to which elements to implement so that we could, test the abstraction here and there And so far, everything is perfectly smooth. So this is awesome. This is awesome. And tomorrow, I'm going to start working on auto-completion and auto-completion of attributes. Let's go. So let's raid. Go say hi to Ethernet cable for me. And enjoy. See you tomorrow.